All right, so I have to admit, I was wrong. I've been looking to medieval guilds and goblins this mod for quite a while now. It piqued my interest whenever it was announced, maybe earlier in the year. I kept an eye on the date for release. Immediately purchased and download, and I was a little underwhelmed at first, and it had a lot to do with this clay building in the clay and then seeing the grind, and I thought, I feel like they may have missed the mark. I didn't know about this, but you know what? I'm going to be open minded and I'm going to give it a shot. And wow, what was I wrong? So, um, as you can see, this obviously it's not the most beautiful, but that's kind of the point. I mean, you're wanting to get up to some of the other tiers, the cobblestone, the village, the stucco. So I want to give a little bit of some of the tips that I feel you'll probably want to know starting off in this mod. And the first one is going to be, so fiber twine is going to be so important to everything that you build is going to need fiber twine. And you don't want to go around crafting this in your inventory. You're going to be walking around the map super slow, crafting hundreds of these and trying to harvest other things or run away from dilos. It just doesn't work. So really you want to get some type of a hut and then get to this. I'm going to turn this on. Get to the craftsman table immediately. You can craft this here, and that's going to free you up to go and do some other things, right? So that's one thing that I wish that I knew early on. Another one that I wish that I knew early on was what mods work with this, right? I mean, this is a complete overhaul. There's not a stacking mod that's really going to work with this. Some of the other buildings, if they require your standard wood, it's not going to be ideal. This needs to be first in the order, and just like standard wood doesn't exist. So got to be careful with that. Really test it out as well. So that may be tip number one, and then tip number two is the fiber twine, the craftsman table. Um, from there, another thing that I realized was, you know, I need a larger base, but probably a smaller building. I've seen a lot of massive bases where the building is just huge and you go in and you craft a lot of things, and it's just not going to work here. It's designed for this, but you're going to need a lot of outdoor space. Whereas previously, most of what I was building was inside. So you really need to get the fencing in order. You need to be strategic with your layout. So as an example, here I have my wood. So all my lumber is going to be here, all the carpenters, the refining. So this is the first one that you're going to need, the refining station. So then it's going to go to the next in line, which is going to be, I think this is the sawing. Where you at? Yeah, this carpenter's sawing station. Okay. Carpenter's sanding station. We have so many carpenter's things. What's going on? This was another issue whenever I first started, and it was kind of overwhelming. Like, how do you know where to go? Well, it's kind of just common sense, though, right? So we go to the carpenters and we look at everything. Well, iron ore, that's essentially metal. Wooden log, that's basically wood. I can get those things. I know I can. Okay, well, I don't have lumber, but that's what I'm going to get here at the carpenter's refining station. So it's pretty linear. Once you get that lumber and the wrought iron, which is metal ingot, then you can use the rough wooden plank, which is what I'm going to get here from the sawing station, and so on. So it makes a lot of sense once you get in there, which that's really what brought back so much of the beauty of Ark that is missing now. You know the steps. I know what to do. I know where to go. I know where to find this. I'm on the island, the best, the OG map. But this brings back a lot of the magic. So you're going to have a lot of outdoor space. And then another thing, too, that I wanted to highlight is I would immediately start building this little goblin station. Let me see what it's officially called over here. All right, so this is a trading post. You can build this somewhat early on. It doesn't really require a ton of resources: twine, sticks, hide, wood. Nothing crazy. Build that, and then you want to keep going here and seeing what they're going to ask for. Dirt. All right, that's going to be the way to go. I can probably get 4 or 5 um, gold coins just by doing the dirt. And then, obviously, if you don't know, here's another free tip for you. you're going to get dirt and clay on the dirt. If you go in the water a little bit, you're going to get a lot more clay, but you're also going to get sand. So that's where you get the sand for it. You just kind of want to know those little tips and where to harvest, kind of like using a pick to get more metal or more thatch versus a hatchet, which is going to get more stone or more wood. So little tips like that are going to go a long way, and you'll figure them all out. But again, that's kind of the beauty of this mod. Another thing is you can see here, I am using this goblin sickle, and it's an upgrade above the primitive, and you get so much more resources by using this, and it's not difficult to get to. Whenever you kill these animals, you're going to get the bone. And after you get the bone, first chance you get, you're going to want to make this leather drying rack. Once you get a goblin on this drying rack, you can get the leather resources and you're upgraded immediately. And that's going to make life so much easier for you for harvesting and getting good resources too. So, um, this mod is really made for PvE and for a server for the community. It's more of a chill and just kind of grind it out and make a cool base and just survive and live that way, which I love. Another thing is that I wanted to highlight you don't need as much room for your plants as I thought. So you can see here, I built out this entire area. Even this wood up here was initially removed, and I realized, wow, I'm gonna have a lot of crops here. I can leverage some of this other space up here for some buildings. I'm sure I'm going to have to add some things and use it for other stations to craft, but you don't need as much room for your crops. It's mostly going to be for the different stations and things that you're going to build. So, a few things to keep in mind. Very excited for this. I have a community server that I'm on playing. I've got a little bit boosted rates on the weight. We got stacking up, but there's no mod. So the weight's boosted a little bit from the stats per level. And then we've got 5x on the harvesting. So I find that to be a good sweet spot to where it's still, you got to grind it out a little bit, but overall, it's not going to be anything too crazy. So I'm going to do have a quality of life uh, mod that's working with it. So just got to play around and see what works for you. Again, thanks so much for stopping by. Hope you get to check out this mod. Definitely worth the $10. And there's so many more things that they're going to roll out to different armor, different um, different tools and things, weapons. So looking forward to it. And maybe I'll see you guys down the road.